Relay FM, this is Connected, episode 465. Today's show is brought to you by Klimamecax, Fast Growing Trees, and Nom Nom. I'm one of your returning co-hosts, Mr. Federico Vitici, and it's my pleasure to introduce Stephen Hackett. Hello, Stephen.
Hey, man. It's been a minute since we've been on a show together.
I know, right? How are you? How's your family?
I'm great. You sound refreshed.
I am refreshed. I am relaxed. I have a vibe going at the moment, you know. Yeah, I'm good. I'm writing the iOS review. It's good. Good time. Good time to be on the show.
Good. Know? We are also joined by Mr. Mike Hurley.
I thought about pretending not to be here. You know, I thought that would be funny.
Yeah, it's not.
But then I gave up.
Yeah.
Because I can't actually keep my mouth closed for more than 5 minutes. So you know, that's the problem. That even if I sat here and pretended, I wouldn't last for very long. So we could just kind of give it up, you know.
Have you ever considered a silent retreat?
Do you think I could manage? Can you imagine me on a silent retreat? I wouldn't last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Maybe that's something you need to fix.
No, I've never considered that. I don't think I could handle that. Nor would I want to. I would like to go on a noisy retreat.
Hey, that's just going to the city.
I was gonna say that's just every time you go outside.
That's just my life, man. No, but it's me making all the noise. That's not usually what I do when I go outside.
Interesting. So that's what your brain thinks about. Okay. It's good to know. Good information.
Just the most noise possible. That's what I would like
to
make.
But what matters today is that we're all back together.
We are. You're back from the beach. I was pretty sick last week, so no one needed to hear my voice last week. Mike's here. It's all good.
I'm the constant currently.
You are.
I'm the one that can be relied upon. I am the constant.
Yeah.
You watch how sick I get now. You know what I mean?
You're coming to Memphis in 3 weeks. Don't put that energy.
Bad time of the year to get sick, right?
Don't put that energy out there. We got a lot of feedback. Mike, you mentioned on a previous episode maybe wanting to get into 3D printing. Thank you, everyone who sent in feedback via the form. That's the best way to get feedback to us. Mike, where is that feedback form? How can people find it?
Connectedfeedback.com.
That's right. There's also a link in the show notes each and every week.
Wait, we also have a funny one, right? Is it 123 feedback?
Sure. That sounds about right.
Nope. No, it's not that. It's not that.
But should
it's
it
not
be?
That. I don't know what it is.
Should it be?
I don't know. There's another domain now, but I just don't remember what it is.
This website may be impersonating 123feedback.com to steal your personal financial information. You should go back to the previous page.
You should go back. Don't go there. Go back.
I'm not looking at whatever that is.
Don't go there alone, you know?
Do it with your family around. So many people send in feedback. It basically fell into two buckets. A bunch of people recommended the Prusa, P-R-U-S-A.
I think it's Prusa.
Prusa Mark III, or the new one, the Mark IV. I've got the Mark IV, and I absolutely love it. You can get it as a kit you build yourself, or you can get it pre-built, which is what I did because I was afraid of putting it together incorrectly.
I saw someone build one of these on Instagram recently, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, so I spent a bit more to get it pre-built, but I've been very happy with it. And it is basically with 3D printing, the more you spend, not only the nicer the machine is, but the more it can do for you. So it does a lot of its measuring and setup. And it has some orientation stuff to check each time. It basically handles a lot of that for you, where a lot of less expensive printers, you're doing a lot of that manually, and there's more room for error. So the Prusa got a bunch of votes. The other one that got a bunch of votes, and I looked at this, but I went for the Prusa, is the Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon. Now, they have several different printers. They look pretty different from the Prusas because these are enclosed. But a lot of people also liked this brand. I don't have any firsthand experience with it, but it looks like another great product. And they're comparable in price. They're sort of in the same prosumer tier of 3D printer.
I am more drawn to the Bamboo Lab purely on aesthetics. The Bamboo Lab printer looks like, oh, this is a cool thing. The Prusa looks like someone built it out of things they found in the garage.
They did. And in fact, parts of the Prusa are 3D printed. So if something breaks, you can print a new part for yourself.
Yeah, but how? Because it's broken.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess so. But,
Yeah.
And it's like black and orange. Like the Prusa is my aesthetic, right? It looks great in my studio. And I've been really happy with it. But
I just can't, like, what I can't fathom is like this Prusa is £1,000 and the Bamboo Lab is £1,300. The Prusa looks like half price wise. Like if you just look at these things, right, you're just like, no, the Bamboo Lab looks like it costs what it costs. I'm actually kind of surprised that the Prusa costs as much as it costs, but I'm not going to get into this for a while. But
We have some real-time feedback from OTJ, who sent us a link. 3D print. The title. This is a Verge story. 3D printer nightmare fuel. Bamboo X1C and P1P started printing while owners were asleep.
Bamboo says it's keenly aware and deeply concerned by this behavior. This sounds exciting.
yeah, because these things you can, at least the Prusa, I'm sure the Bamboo works the same way. You can put it online, and so you can like print, like set up a print job in a browser or in their companion app.
Yeah.
Mine, I did not put on my network. And so when I want to print something, I have to save files
Yeah, I
to a
wouldn't do
USB drive and then go plug it in. But I didn't want that thing on the internet. So that's a little upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't in my immediate
Yeah.
future, but like it's something I think I would like at some point. I would like to see yours when I come to
Yeah.
Memphis.
Yeah. It's just out
See what it's all
right
about.
behind me. So can someone tell me about the PlayStation Portal? Because I've tried reading about this and I don't think I understand what it's for.
So you know the PlayStation, right?
I do know. I'm aware of the PlayStation. Yes.
Okay.
This is a company called Sony.
I edited that episode and I left all the video game
If you
talk
don't
in.
know what this thing is at all, Stephen, then I'm going to assume that you weren't listening fully.
I mean, I know that it's remote play, right? Like that's
right.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
you got
so
it.
you have
got it. Or
knowledge.
you're just reading this blog post.
no,
I'm
it's
not sure.
remote
one or the
play, but
other.
like, why would you want this instead of something like a Steam Deck? That's a whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Because it can't play PlayStation games.
Okay, so it's the content.
Yeah, well, technically, like on a Steam Deck, you can install a third-party remote play client, but like it's a bit of an involved process, and it's gonna have limitations in terms of stream quality. Whereas with the Portal, which is this new $200 device, Sony is sort of advertising a couple of benefits here. You will be able to have 1080p streaming at 60 frames per second with the ability to wake up your PS5 on your local network to play games instantly. And they're also going to introduce this new audio sort of protocol called PlayStation Link, which on the regular PlayStation 5 will require a separate USB dongle to plug into your PS5.
I did
but
read
the
about
rumors
that.
are
Yeah.
the rumors are pointing to the future PS5 Slim revision having this PlayStation Link support built in. It will essentially enable this quote-unquote lossless audio and very low latency audio with the compatible headphones that Sony is making. These headphones having been built with these specific drivers that most likely Sony built alongside Odyssey, which is this audio company that they also acquired last week. So yeah, but basically the appeal of the Portal is for people like me, for example, where I have my PS5 in the living room and most of my gaming time is at night. And usually when I want to play a game on my PlayStation and Sylvia is sleeping and I have a couple of hours for myself because I go to bed later than Sylvia, I could go back to the living room and just play by myself. However, my problem is that if I go to the living room, I'm still going to make noises, just walking around and opening the cabinet where the PS5 is. And the other issue is my dogs are going to get curious and they're going to walk back and forth between the bedroom and the living room to check on me. They're like, hey, why are you here? And mom is in bed. And they do this all the time. So ideally, I would prefer to play PlayStation games in bed, but without bothering my partner, right? So this is the appeal, for example. You can play on a tiny screen, but it's still a PS5 game. And you don't have the technical limitations of, say, a Steam Deck running Chiaki, which is this third-party client for remote play.
And $200 is the new piece of information from last week and the name. Like, and that's that I feel like, to me, that is on like the high end of my sweet spot, right? Like 200 is like, okay. Like, like I'm going to get one of these now. Like that was the last thing I needed, where it's like, yeah, okay. Like that's not too bad. And an 8-inch screen, like we're talking like Nintendo Switch kind of size. Obviously it's not an OLED like the Switch is, but I'm intrigued about this, and I think it's kind of priced just about where it needs to be. I would say, like, I see a lot of people that are like, this thing's wild. What is the point of this? Like, I don't understand that outrage. I do think that the lack of Bluetooth is like annoying. Like, I support the idea of the PlayStation Link thing. Like, I think that's cool, right? It's like it's solving an interesting set of problems of like low latency and stuff. It should also have Bluetooth though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't only have the PlayStation Link thing, but realistically, it also does have a headphone jack on it too, so it's not like it has nothing. Like, so there are ways to still get the audio. But anyway, I'm very intrigued about this, and it's priced at for a consumer technology, a level that is like, okay, I'll give this a go for that price.
Yeah.
Some real-time breaking news. Mark Gurman is reporting that Apple is looking at 3D printing to make devices in major manufacturing shift. And apparently some of these parts could come as soon as the stainless steel Apple Watch Series 9.
So what, you'll be able to 3D print an Apple Watch at home?
Yeah.
Like, you'll just pay Apple for like the schematic or whatever, and like you just don't even need to go to them anymore?
Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
Great. Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like 3D printing, right?
Yeah,
like there is
not
3D printing in like major manufacture already.
Right.
Where you could like 3D print metal, and it's not like it's got that like texture running through it like regular 3D printing does. Can you imagine you get your next iPhone and it's like 3D printed plastic?
I saw this post by Mark appear on Mastodon. Ivory was open in the background, and my brain. So the post says, Apple design a major shift on how to produce products, working on 3D printing of device bodies. My brain quickly skimmed the post and read it as working on 3D printing bodies.
Yeah, man.
Oh no.
I love it.
And I was very confused for a second.
I'm going to have to say there was no, like, I didn't have an anonymous informant. It's not why I was asking about 3D printing. I had no idea that this was coming. That's very strange that this is hit right now. Do you think Mark's listening? Hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
You think he's listening? Maybe he's out there.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey. Can I tell you about the work of St. Jude? I would love to do that.
Please tell us all about it.
Because September, which is basically here, it's childhood cancer.
It's basically September.
September never ends. Wait, no, that's not the song lyric. Did I mess up that reference?
Wake me up.
You know,
Wake me up when September ends.
Wake me up. Different song. Save me. No, different song.
Yeah, we've now.
No.
We're doing a mashup. Mm-hmm. I'll be awake all of September because September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And for the 5th year in a row, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the Relay FM community is coming together to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. When I say coming together, well, what does that mean? Well, in the previous 4 years, collectively, we have raised $2.2 million for the work of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which is an astronomical amount of money. We're on the verge of $2.5 million this year. This is super important because St. Jude won't stop their life-saving work until no child dies from cancer. With your support, dear listener, we'll be one step closer to that day, one cure closer, one child closer. I want to tell you a little bit about St. Jude. St. Jude opened its doors in 1962. Believe it or not, I wasn't around then, but back then, childhood cancer was largely considered incurable. This mission that they had was a real moonshot. But today, treatments developed at St. Jude have helped push the overall cancer survival rate from 20% to more than 80% since opening. But that's not 100%, so there is still work to do. Pediatric cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among U.S. children ages 14 and younger. And we all believe that every child deserves a chance to live their life and celebrate every moment. When you support St. Jude, You are helping make cures possible for kids with cancer, like my oldest son, whose life was saved at St. Jude. This September, we ask you to join Relay FM in showing support for St. Jude and Childhood Cancer Awareness Month by going to stjude.org/relay. The link is in the show notes. There you can donate directly. You can start your own campaign and fundraise through your school or civic organization or neighborhood or friends and family. You can set up a matching gift. So if you want to say, hey, for the next $500, I will match it with my own gift. All sorts of things you can do, donor-advised funds. A big thing I know in our audience is the ability to have your company match your donation. So a lot of companies do this. We make it really easy to do that at stjude.org/relay. Lots of good stuff. Mike, can you tell people a little bit about what's coming up in terms of live stream and events?
Throughout the month of September, we'll be doing a bunch of streams and content. Obviously, we have the podcast-a-thon. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's stuff that me and Stephen and others in the Relay FM host community will be participating in. So I am going to be playing Starfield this Friday. That's when Starfield Early Access comes out. So you'll be able to join me at 12 p.m. US Eastern, 9 Pacific. That's 5 British summertime at Mike.live. I'm going to be playing Starfield for the first time, so it'll be blasting off, and you can come hang out with me for a few hours. We'll play some Starfield. We'll talk about the work of St. Jude. We'll have a great time. Then Stephen is going to be also doing a stream where he is, for reasons that will become apparent later on in the month, disassembling a MacBook. This is a MacBook, right?
Yes.
The white plastic polycarbonate MacBook. He's going to be taking one of those apart, and he's going to try and do it from memory because Stephen used to take apart a lot of these when he was an Apple genius. That's going to be on Saturday, September 2nd at 1 p.m. US Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. British summertime. And there's just a couple. We've got a bunch of other stuff. There's always milestone streams that you can find over at stjude.org/relay. You can see the things that we've got. There's new stuff going in all the time. And this is just additional content, additional fun stuff that we'll be able to do as little thank yous throughout the month for you donating. And it also gives us an opportunity to spend more time talking about the donations. We're going to be doing some flight sim streams. We're going to be doing a bunch of other stuff. The biggest event will be Podcast-a-thon 5, which is when, Stephen?
Friday, September 22nd, 12 noon Eastern, all the way through midnight. We're going 12 hours this year.
12 hours.
12 hours. Seemed like a really good idea when we suggested it. Now it's a little frightening.
No, it's great. Podcast-a-thon 5 is 50% longer than any podcast-a-thon.
And it is 50% more bonkers. I saw some of the stuff today, Mike. I was on campus actually recording an interview that's going to be played during the podcast-a-thon that I'm very proud of. It's going to be so much fun. We will be joined in person by Jason and Kathy as our co-host this year. It's going to be so much fun. So take off work Friday. Tell your family you're going to be watching a 12-hour live stream. Friday, September 22nd. We will be posting about this, both Mike and I, and Relay on Instagram and Mastodon and Threads. So you'll have lots of reminders for all of this stuff. But the most important thing, stjude.org/relay.
I have two things I want to mention just before we move on about this. So one is people may be looking at the artwork and they're like, this is really interesting. Why are Mike and Stephen so angry at each other, right? If you look at the desk mats and stuff that we're doing, because also at stjude.org/relay, not only can you donate, you can sign up to fundraise. And if you fundraise, there are additional, what do we call them? Do we call them rewards? For if you fundraise, Relay FM exclusive merchandise available to you if you set up your own fundraiser, which includes a desk mat, and that desk mat has me and Stephen in fighting pose, because the theme of Podcast-a-thon 5 is Mike versus Stephen. That's the theme. And so beginning next week, I think, we'll begin the first point scoring things.
Yeah.
So we're going to be integrating this into some of our shows over the next couple of weeks, where the overall thing, the podcast-a-thon, is a selection of activities and games where Stephen and I will be in competition to crown the one true co-founder. At the end of it, what Steven doesn't know is the company's goes to the winner.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going real pro wrestling with this.
Wow.
The winner gains control of the company. That's what's going to happen. No, that part's not true. But there is going to be Mike versus Steven throughout the whole thing. Go to stjude.org/relay and you can learn a little bit more. The second thing I have to mention before we continue is...
Oh, no.
Welcome back to the Quizzies, where I, Mike Hurley, quiz my connected co-hosts on a selection of topics. Today I have just one question for you both, and it's worth a total of 10 points. The current scoring is Steven with 2,010 points and Federico with 1,990 points. You're actually really close to each other.
That is really
all
close.
things considered. So these 10 points could make a big difference. It's one question. You both give me your answer. The question is, should listeners of this show go to stjude.org/relay and donate money? Steven?
Heck yes.
Okay, Federico?
Yes.
Great, that's 10 points each. Thank you so much for listening to this round of the Quizzies.
Good job, everyone. We have a little bit of follow-out. Mike and Jason were kind enough to invite me on Monday's episode of Upgrade 474, titled I'm Not a Doctor, I'm an Auditor, because I got to audit Jason's computing setup. And so if you want to hear me go through his hardware and his dock and his... what else we talk about? Menu bar and all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. It's always fun to join y'all, Mike, on Upgrade, so thank you for having me.
It was an episode of Upgrade that had a little sprinkling of connected energy.
Did have some connected energy, yeah. Including Jason and I joking so much that you couldn't start the show, which I enjoyed.
That made it to a clip on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, because y'all have a social media manager over there in Upgrade. It's very fancy.
Yep.
Also, I want to give a shout out to our friend David Sparks. Today, Wednesday, August 30th, he has launched his Obsidian Field Guide. There's a couple links in the show notes to that. And Sunday's Mac Power users will be all about Obsidian and his field guide and the process and a whole bunch of great stuff. It's a really good episode. David works so incredibly hard. This field guide took him like a year to do. It's so much work. He does such a good job. And so I wanted to shout it out here. If you are using Obsidian, you want to take it to the next level, or you're Obsidian curious, the field guide is a great place to learn more about it. And David just absolutely killed this one. I've gone through it and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I look forward to checking this one out.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Clean My Mac X. Junk files, hung processes, and malicious apps can slow down even the latest, most powerful Macs. Maintaining your Mac, whether old or new, or if you're like me and you got a bunch of both, is essential to keep that maintained so macOS runs its best. Clean My Mac X is an all-in-one Mac maintenance tool that could take care of old junk, faulty apps, malware, and so much more for you. And it's all in an efficient, aesthetically pleasing, hassle-free way. You think, oh my gosh, a bunch of Mac utilities, they're going to be hard to understand and full of confusing UI. No. Clean My Mac X looks awesome. It's really easy to use all these tools. They have a menu bar app that you can use to monitor your Mac's health, CPU load, and a whole lot more. Clean My Mac X has nearly 30 million downloads, and the team behind it has been working on it for 15 years. This app is a must-try for any Mac user. Run Clean My Mac X to gear up your Mac for the new additions coming with macOS Sonoma this fall. Look, Apple continues to bring innovative features to the Mac, and Clean My Mac X ensures that your hardware remains healthy and running at peak performance so you can enjoy a seamless macOS experience. I recently ran into an issue on my laptop that Clean My Mac X helped me out with. I've been moving a lot of media files around. I set up a Plex server and like this whole thing, and I realized, like, as I was doing this, like, my storage on my laptop, like, didn't add up. I was like, wait, I feel like I've done something here. And Clean My Mac X helped me find this, like, whole other folder of videos that I'd basically duplicated that I thought I had copied to the server, but basically just, like, had it hanging out in a different form, and it was a mess. Clean My Mac X helped me get to the bottom of it. Connected listeners get 5% off by going to macpaw.app/connected. The link is in the show notes, but once again, that's macpaw, MACPAW, macpaw.app/connected. Our thanks to Clean My Mac X for their support of the show and Relay FM. I wanted to highlight something that our friend Rosemary Orchard and her team over at Snailed It Development have been up to. So I think we talked about this when it happened earlier this year, but developer Alex Hay, the developer behind such greats as Toolbox Pro, Logger for Shortcuts, Nanomate, and a bunch of others, unfortunately passed away earlier this year. And there was a lot of, obviously a lot of love and outpouring for him and his family. But a lot of us were also curious about what was going to happen to his apps. And Rosemary and Snailed It have taken over those applications. And so we have a blog post that they wrote that's in the show notes. Most excitingly to me is that Alex was actually in the process of a big update to Toolbox Pro, and they plan on finishing and shipping that update. So I love the story. I'm so glad these apps have a good home. Federico, could you talk a little bit about these apps? I know that you've covered Toolbox Pro and others over on Mac Stories over the years.
Yeah, Alex was an incredibly talented developer. Especially, I especially appreciated Alex's work because of how skilled and knowledgeable he was about shortcuts and sort of the entire iOS, iPadOS, and eventually macOS automation scene powered by shortcuts and shortcuts actions. And Toolbox Pro was truly some pioneering work from Alex in terms of this idea of adding features to shortcuts in the form of shortcuts actions made by a third-party app. Toolbox Pro is what could be referred to as a sort of as a headless application in terms of that, meaning that you don't open the Toolbox Pro app to do anything. It's just a container for shortcuts actions. All kinds of shortcuts actions, right? Most importantly, Toolbox Pro allowed the sort of integrations that not even Apple itself is building into shortcuts. Things like Apple Music integrations, right? Integration with the Apple Music Search API and the Playback API. And Toolbox Pro has hundreds, I want to say, of actions. Things like creating interfaces. You can do that with Toolbox Pro. Searching the App Store, presenting lists. And Logger was another shortcuts-enabled, sort of shortcuts-based utility that allowed you to have proper developer-like outputs in a console. So if you want to check on the error logs for one of your shortcuts and you want to get more details about what happened, you can install Logger and have a proper console for your more advanced shortcuts. And Automate, which I believe was Alex's most recent work, is another shortcuts utility that exposes visual actions for Notion, which is something that Notion, very popular web service, doesn't have. Notion doesn't offer any native sort of visual, sort of do-it-yourself shortcuts actions. It has an API. However, getting started with that API requires a lot of work. And I know that because I have built some Notion shortcuts with the sort of raw API, and it requires a lot of skill, a lot of knowledge. And Automate simplifies all of that with a bunch of visual actions. So this is, given the tragic circumstances, but it's such a great story of, a developer's legacy living on and sort of being passed on to another skilled team of developers who truly care about automation. I cannot wait to see, what Rosemary and team do in terms of preserving Alex's legacy and continuing the work that Alex started. Years ago, I believe Alex was already working on a version of Toolbox Pro for macOS, for example. So I am very keen to see where this goes, and I'm just happy to know that these apps now have a home, especially Toolbox Pro. It's such a must-have utility if you're a shortcuts power user. So I'm glad to see this sort of come to be like this.
Yeah, it's good community members too. Like, it's in good hands, good stewardship. It's very complicated, like emotionally, like to both try and celebrate and commiserate something at exactly the same time.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And I imagine that this is even more complicated for the Snailed It folks of like how to do this, because it's a difficult thing, but it's also a good thing too.
I have some real-time follow-up about voicemail transcriptions. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and we were unsure if it was actually working or not. But during the show, I got a phone call and I sent it to voicemail and reached over.
This is the fake voicemail, though, right? This is the non-real voicemail. Okay.
They are leaving a message and your iPhone lock screen is transcribing it for you.
Yep.
And I think for the first time, I'm on beta 8 now, which came out yesterday. It worked. So I could see the voicemail that my family member was leaving me as I was recording. So I don't have to worry if something's wrong. I now know what's up. And they even said, I know you're probably recording, but blah, 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 blah. Pretty sweet. So for the first time I've seen this work, and now I'm not like worried that, something's wrong trying to check a voicemail during the show.
Go to voicemail? Like,
Yes.
Do you open the phone app and they're there? Like, you can look at them afterwards?
Yes. Yeah. So it is saved as a regular voicemail. It's pretty slick. It only took 8 betas to get it going, but that's fun.
It's a lot of betas, right? Like 8 is a lot. Is a lot?
Feels like it.
Is it a lot? Federico, is it a lot? Is 8 an
No,
is that normal?
Regular.
Okay.
More than 10 is a lot.
It's weird. Okay.
Yeah. But we got to 12, I believe, at 1 year, I want to say. And that was a lot. The voicemail thing, just something real quick I want to say. I am still not sure how I'm supposed to test it in Italy. Meaning,
I don't think you
I'm
can.
using my phone in...
Yeah.
I'm using my phone in English. My phone is set to the English language. And then whenever someone calls me and leaves a voicemail, and that has happened on a couple of occasions this summer, they are speaking Italian, but it gets transcribed in English. So you can imagine, it's English that doesn't make any sense. So my assumption is that this voicemail transcription doesn't do any sort of language detection. So, am I forced to use my phone in Italian if I want to get voicemail transcription in Italian?
Well, it only works in Canada and the US. So, like, you must have your phone set to a thing.
So it's my region setting.
That's why it's working, because it doesn't work for me.
Okay, so that's what...
You actually can test it, but you can't test it
I can test it,
way.
but someone needs to call me on the phone and leave a proper English message. Okay, can you call me at some point over the next few days, Mike?
You just let me know, and I'll call you, and I'll whisper sweet nothings to your iPhone. Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'll make sure I at least give you a sentence you can take a screenshot. The rest of it may not be fit for print.
Wow.
So you got to get that screenshot quick before I start cursing.
I'm back with another plea for the reminders team.
Hi, it's me.
It's me, your most annoying user. So last year, I got a change in reminders to make the badge match the today view. So the badge would have overdue and due today tasks. Right? Got that in the beta last year. Super excited, super happy. I'm back in reminders. I've been using it full time for months now. And another thing has come to bother me. And so I wrote a blog post. And look, it's not running to the press when you are the press. So I filed a feedback. It's FB1305599 as linked or as mentioned in this blog post. But my current frustration is the today view. So they have this feature where you can divide it up into morning, afternoon, and tonight. Things has something similar to this where you have like, oh, this task will be due this evening, which is a good feature. My problem is the sorting. So Apple, with this view on or off, puts your tasks that are due today, but with no due time at the top of the list. So you say that you have 5 tasks for today. The first 3 don't have times. You see those first. And then you see the other ones that have due times. And I find this to basically be backwards, not only from how every other task manager does it, but in my mind, a task with a time, like that, the time is important, right? If I say, hey, you need to go do this thing at 3 p.m., I need to go do that thing at 3 p.m. And if I have to scroll past a bunch of tasks that don't have a time, I find that to be a bit frustrating. So all that's outlined in this document, as well as the feedback that I filed. And I just want to put this out into the world. If anyone's listening, I would love you to consider this.
I think you're right. I run into this problem every single time. Because on the one hand, I like this idea of assigning like timeless reminders with a date, just today or tomorrow without a time.
That's how a lot of mine are. Just like at some point today, get this done.
At some point today. Yes. The problem is exactly what you describe, that throughout the course of the day, I open the Today view and I miss those reminders because they got mixed in with all the other reminders that have a time. So I agree. There needs to be a better separation, like put them at the end or something. Like, I agree. So I hope they listen to this feedback item. And I will also mention another thing that I also filed the feedback for, which is what you just mentioned, Stephen. The Today view has this special sections for morning, afternoon, and tonight. Nice feature. Copied from things. Nice feature. I like it. But a couple of things. First, these times cannot be customized. And I'm pretty sure that I brought this up in my review whenever this feature became available. I don't recall if it was last year or iOS 15 when reminders got these 3 sections. Tonight, for example, means 6 p.m. Now, I'm not an American. I don't eat dinner at 6 p.m. Tonight for me, tonight means at the very least 9 p.m. Now, this problem would be solved if only these times, what they mean, could be customized. Like, tonight is not 6 p.m. 6 p.m. is afternoon for me. Like, why should it be tonight? So that problem, like that flexibility needs to be added in at some point. And second, these are sections, right? These are sections of the Today view. However, these are like custom sections compared to the proper sections that Reminders is gaining with iOS 17. In iOS 17, you can create sections inside of your lists.
Which is sweet.
Which is sweet, and I love it. Thanks to those sections, in iOS 17, you can choose to view a list in list mode with all your sections arranged vertically or as columns. So you can turn reminders into like a Kanban board, for example. It would make sense, in my opinion, to have these sections of the Today page to also be, to also support those display modes, right? So what I'm asking for is, why can I not view the sections of the Today page as columns, but I can view other sections in Reminders as columns? So it's like they have these legacy sections in the Today view that do not support the same view options of the other sections in Reminders in iOS 17. Similarly, the Scheduled page has the same problem. The Scheduled view has sections for today, tomorrow, next 2 days, and then it goes like rest of September, for example. I would love it if I could view those sections in the Scheduled view as columns, but I can't, because these are not quote-unquote real sections like the rest of iOS 17. They are custom sections, and they do not support those view modes. It's like these inconsistencies, they don't make a lot of sense, in my opinion. And yeah, I also think those reminders should be placed at the bottom, and I should be able to customize whatever tonight means. Mm-hmm. And by the way, someone asked in the Discord, I eat dinner at the very least at 9:30 p.m. Man, I was in Formentera and everybody eats dinner like 11 p.m., 11:30. One time we went to the restaurant we ordered at midnight and it was perfect. It was so sweet. Everybody just, those are my kind of schedule. I understand why they may be a little too late for a lot of people, but yeah, at the very least 9:30 p.m.
Yeah. We have a several people are typing situation in Discord right now.
Yeah. Midnight dinner. It was incredible. So
Midnight dinner sounds like a band I want to listen to.
Midnight dinner?
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of Neutral Milk Hotel.
Well, I can't go there. I'm lactose intolerant.
Exactly. Well, it's neutral. I don't know. Does that mean there is
maybe
milk at the hotel, or there's no milk at the hotel, or the milk is in like perfect stasis at the hotel? Anyway, I see what you're saying about the reminders thing, about like the grouping. I could see it going one way or the other, but like reading your post, I understand why you would want it to be the way that you want it to be.
Yeah. But make it an option. I feel like a reminders application, like it's an app that should have settings because people want different things. Like I know when I wrote this, OTJ texted me, was like, you're wrong, because the way he uses it is he has all of his untimed tasks at the top, and then each day he kind of filters them. So like he drags, okay, this one I'm going to do in the morning, this one I'm going to do in the afternoon.
I think I would live the OTJ lifestyle in that one, but I'm not like, it's kind of like I don't know if I really feel like one way is better than the other, but it does feel like a personal decision.
Yeah. So just give me the option to have it the way I want it.
John literally said, "I hope you don't get this."
He did. He did say that.
He's actively rooting against.
He doesn't even
you.
want a setting. He thinks it's so bad. He doesn't even want there to be a setting.
I'm pretty sure is lobbying for this feature not to exist. So,
John has released like, what's your feedback number? It's like he's done the same feedback number but with a B at the end, and it's like, don't do this.
It's anti-feedback.
Yeah.
This episode of Connected is made possible by our friends at Fast Growing Trees. Are you planning that last-minute summer getaway, or maybe you're looking towards the fall for a trip? Well, look, you don't have to go someplace exotic. Look no further than your own backyard. Invest those travel miles in a totally personal oasis with year-round staycation potential. FastGrowingTrees.com has thousands of easy-to-grow plant, shrub, and tree varieties. They're expertly curated for your unique climate and needs. Think evergreens, shade trees, Meyer lemons, and everything in between. And you don't need to wait in long lines or haul heavy plants around in the back of your car. Because with FastGrowingTrees.com, you order online and your plants arrive at your door in just a few days. And maybe you want to get into this, but maybe you don't really have a green thumb. Well, Fast Growing Trees has plant experts, and they are a Zoom, chat, or phone call away. They're always available and eager to help. They can walk you through an entire garden space and help you solve problems you're having with plants and trees. They have specialized degrees and training to help troubleshoot from root to leaf. It's like telehealth, but for your plants. We've been reworking our flower beds and stuff around our house. We had a tree cut down. It's like totally changed where the sun and shade is in our yard. And we've used Fast Growing Trees for several plants that are now in our yard. And it's amazing. Go to their website. You tell them about the location, the weather, how much sun and shade, and they make these really useful suggestions. You order the plant and it shows up in just a few days and you're ready to go. And I love the idea of having a plant expert, someone that I could talk to if I run into trouble. With Fast Growing Trees' 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, you know everything will look great right out of the box. Join almost 2 million happy Fast Growing Trees customers by going to fastgrowingtrees.com/connected, and you will get 15% off your entire order. That's 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com/connected. Our thanks to Fast Growing Trees for the support of the show and Relay FM.
All right, it's iPhone time. We all knew it was coming, and here it is.
Wait, they're making a new one?
Breaking news, there's going to be a new iPhone this year.
Okay.
In iPhone Gate, there's going to be a new one. That's the gate this year, that there's a new iPhone, if you can believe it.
Nice.
We all got invited.
We did, which is very awesome.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, only Steven's going. we're not. It's complicated, this is complicated.
Yes.
Stephen will be there. We can confirm.
I will.
The Connected Podcast is willing to confirm that Stephen Hackett will be boots on the ground.
And the event is taking place on the 15th anniversary of 512 Pixels, which is really special to me.
We'd like to thank Tim for recognizing it,
I mean, technically, it's the 15th anniversary of Fork Bomber.
That's true, but
Just saying.
Rebranded.
When you said that to me, I was like, wow, that time's gone fast. But it's actually the anniversary of you having your own website, right? Because it used to be under a different name. That makes more sense to me. Because I was like, oh my God, like you made me feel really old. But I didn't really put any more thought into it than that. Where if I would have realized what Federico just realized.
Yes, of my own site. Yeah, it was called Fork Bomber for quite a few years. It's been 512 longer now, I think, but
definitely.
That's probably like 10 years ago at this point. Anyways, I wanted to go through kind of the state of the rumors and get everyone's temperature on what we think. This is not the Rickies. We'll be playing that next week where we make our official, sealed guesses about what Apple is going to do.
Sealed? Do we have a seal?
Yeah, the Vitici seal.
You said no. Is it like
Slap it on there.
one of those?
I think
Well,
it becomes
I mean,
sealed when
they're
it shows.
actually they're not sealed at all, right? Because we share them with each other. At least the
Well, I just
risky
meant-
pick
I just
we
meant,
share
like,
with each other before.
They're the official, like, once they're made, we can't
Oh.
change them. Like,
Right.
Okay.
A
really,
seal as
I
in
started
like
the
approved,
sentence.
not as in like it's taped up in an envelope and no one can open
Yeah,
it.
they're not like notarized.
Right. I mean, we could
They
probably
should
do
be
that.
though.
Yeah.
Should they?
Like the thing we should notarize is the rules, but the problem is we can't keep them the same for more than
Or
6 months.
you're paying a
You just
notary.
go to the just
times
go
a
to
year.
the notary every single time.
Yeah.
There is a notary somewhere who is like salivating at the idea of
Mm-hmm.
notarizing the Bill of Rickies because like that is
Yeah.
just a never-ending stream of money.
If you're listening and you're a notary in the United States, send us some feedback on the feedback form.
Do you need to be a notary in the United States? Can you not be a notary in Italy?
Well, the companies in the United States.
But this isn't anything like who owns Connected though.
I mean,
Right.
who edits Connected? I feel like is the real question.
Wait, so is that how it works? Like whoever edits it owns it?
You're not my boss.
That's true. I don't know. Maybe.
Because
okay, no, I got
that
it.
would
I got
make
it.
Jim
I got it.
Metzendorf the owner of Mac Power Users. You know that, right? Like that's what would happen if that was the case.
We round robin the country in which we notarize the bill.
Perfect.
I don't want the hassle.
So
Yeah,
you don't want
you know
me
what?
to do it, but you don't want to do it either.
No, I never said I don't want you to do it. That was not a thing that
Not
I
just
never
the
said
principle. He
Yeah,
likes
the
the
principle.
thought of he likes the thought of having the
I
possibility.
never suggested I wanted to be in charge of notarizing anything. I don't want that aggravation of like going to a notary. Like if you can run back the tape, Mike never said, "What about a notary in Great Britain?" Like that was never a thing that
Yeah,
I
it was
wanted
Federico.
to do.
It was Federico.
Like I don't want to do it, but I do like the idea of it happening. What we need is like a notary in international waters, like someone who is like
Pirate notary.
I'm fascinated by that. Okay.
There's someone who has no affiliation to any country, so it lives just.
Can you be one of those countries where like, people go to do quote unquote business? Like can we get like a notary in the Cayman Islands, for example?
Oh, or like Panama or something.
Yeah.
Or like, what's that place? Is it Sealand? Is that what it is, Stephen?
Principality of Sealand. Yeah.
The Principality of Sealand. If you are a notary in Switzerland, maybe. Ooh, that's probably the one, right? Switzerland?
Yeah, because Switzerland don't care. They're neutral, It's just like
We could go skiing once a year and get like the Bill of Rickies notarized.
I love it.
That feels like a good excuse for a vacation.
Yeah.
If you are a Swiss notary, please write in and let us know.
We probably have one listening. Okay. Anyways, all this started because I started a sentence I didn't know how it was going to end. Next week, we're doing the Rickies. These are not our guesses. I just want to
but seriously, if you happen to be a Swiss notary, like if we can find a Swiss notary in the show's audience, we're gonna do something. I don't know what, but we're gonna do something.
We will have to. I mean, like, I feel like if there is someone in Switzerland who is a notary, like at this point, if they like,
they have notaries in
we
Switzerland.
have to do something. I don't know.
Do they?
Swiss
I don't know.
notary.
I mean, I feel like they've got to, right? Like maybe if anywhere in the world with all of the banks.
Oh, yeah.
and stuff.
They got notaries. Yeah. Notary services in Switzerland. Here we go. Tons of things in here. I want to start with the iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus. This is kind of where things stand in the rumors. Apple is going to continue the regular phone kind of being a year behind the Pro phone. So this year, it looks like the iPhone 15 and the 15 Plus will get the dynamic island, and I assume live activity support along with that.
Whilst I believe this is happening, it is because I know what you're saying about that, but like it's not getting always on display. So like we skipped to dynamic island, right? That is interesting because it's like it's all about a priorities thing, right? Like for whatever reason, Apple feel like the dynamic island is more important to roll out to all the phones first. And it's just intriguing to me as like a thing that they've decided.
Yeah.
But like the always on, they're going to keep that for a while longer.
That makes sense if you think about like how they're slowly, arguably, extending the things that go in the dynamic island. Like with iOS 17, they're doing a bit more. and they're going to continue that most likely next year. So it makes sense to also have the base model iPhones have the dynamic island.
One of the big features of iOS 17 is standby, and realistically, that is an always on display feature. While it works on other phones, it is nowhere near as useful on other phones.
But that's exactly the point. One of the best features means you gotta, if you want it, it's one of the best features. But if you want it, you gotta pay. So.
But the dynamic island, for whatever, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, like for whatever reason, the dynamic island is something where they're like, no, we should get this on all the phones as fast as possible. It's just intriguing to me. Like, I wonder what that means for live activities as time goes on. Like, are they really going to push that? Because again, it's one of those things where like it has so much promise, and I use it a lot, but there are so many apps that I wish support it, but don't still.
We're also going to see an updated 5G chip from Qualcomm. The only reason I put this in there is just to touch on the topic of Apple's 5G modem business continues just to get pushed further down the line.
Nice.
It seems like they've struggled with that because they bought that business from Intel 4 years ago, I think. It's been a minute, and we have not seen Apple's own modems quite yet.
So an updated 5G chip from Qualcomm. Perfect. So I don't need to get my vaccine this fall. Nice.
Not yet. I mean, the thing that's interesting, I don't know if like realistically there's much of a big change here. I think really it's more intriguing that like Apple just have yet to pull it together to get this working themselves. But it doesn't surprise me because I think I heard you mention this maybe on Mac Power Users recently, Stephen, about this particular thing. I don't know why, but I think I heard you talk about this. This is so complicated, right? They cannot mess this up. They cannot get it even a little bit wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Like the 5G connection on an iPhone, like this has to be rock solid before they put it out there. So I think this is going to be a multiple years from now still thing where like if you get like 5% of them go wrong, well, you can't do it. Like you just can't do this. It's like this is AntennaGate waiting to happen in like maybe a potentially real, more serious way.
We're looking at some updated colors. According to Mac Rumors, we're looking at midnight or black, starlight or white, yellow, blue, and perhaps the return of the coral color or something like that from the iPhone XR, which was a pretty good color on the XR, I thought.
Great color. It's one of my favorite iPhone colors.
Yeah. The XR had some good colors. None of these are super, super exciting. They're kind of in the palette Apple's been playing in for a while, and they're still going to use the aluminum side rails. So I think these are going to look pretty similar to previous regular iPhones, except for the notch becoming the dynamic island. And of course...
Oh my God, the notch. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know.
The notch.
Yeah, it's
Notch. I haven't heard of that guy for a long time. What's a notch like you doing in a place like this?
Wow. The biggest physical difference may be the inclusion of a USB-C port at the bottom. So, of course, EU regulation is coming that USB-C needs to be on new devices. Mac Rumors and others are saying that they could come with color-matched braided cables, which I just want to shout out Apple's braided cable game. I've got several now, just kind of over the years that I've gotten products. Braided cables are the way to go. And if these are color matched, that would be sick. I think people are going to dig that.
I am very ready to spend money, as much money as it will end up inevitably taking to remove all lightning cables from my life. I'm ready. I can't wait. See you later, Lightning. Like, you're gone. I'm done with you. I just want USB-C. So, like, cannot wait to get rid of them all. Bye-bye. Can't wait. There's
a lot of talk about what flavor of USB-C we would get on these phones. Like, is it going to be...
Oh, this is so infuriating to me is the thing. Who cares? Who cares how fast the USB port is? Oh, it's going to be 2.0. Who cares? Why?
I love this energy. Keep going.
It's ridiculous. No one cares. Like, anybody that actually cares... Get the Pro phone. Like if you're transferring terabytes of pro raw footage off your just get this. This isn't important. Who cares? There's so many articles written about the speed. Who cares? Who cares?
I love this.
That's what I have. I feel like I see this every 2 days. Someone's writing an article about USB 2.0 speeds.
Oh, my poor pro raw footage going so slow.
Just come on.
I think it would be nice if it were faster than USB 2, but that's okay.
Are you going to be an iPhone 15 customer, Stephen?
No, but built in.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying.
But I guess it's built into your argument the idea that the Pro would have faster, like 3.0 or even Thunderbolt.
They're gonna do Thunderbolt.
Yeah, because the rumor is that the regular phone will be slow.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've seen. And that the Pro phone will have the capacity for more.
It'll be interesting.
But even if it doesn't, so what? So what? Just airdrop it. Like, it's fine. You'll be fine. You can live. I know you can.
Okay. This phone would assumably be powered by the A16 that's currently in the 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max, stepping down the processor to the regular phone a year after it debuts. I don't know how successful that's been for them. It's hard to tell this recent run of phones. It's hard to eyeball what is what. So I don't know how many iPhone 14s I've seen out in the world, but
Yeah.
I think they want people on the fence to move up to the Pro. But this is the recipe they set a couple years ago, and they seem to be continuing to follow it. That the 15 and the 15 Plus will kind of be some of last year's Pro stuff kind of mixed in with some new stuff.
Can I say something?
Please.
Say something?
Yes.
Without being attacked.
Oh, I can't promise that.
Can't promise that. I'll try, though.
Nobody cares about the chip in the phone.
Oh, no, there's no attack there. Like, this isn't a thing. No one cares.
It's only us,
Yeah.
John Gruber, and Apple marketing. Like, nobody cares.
I forget. I don't even know what chip is in the phone. I don't know, because I also don't actually really care, because, like, it doesn't do anything.
But I see these arguments.
For me.
I see these arguments sometimes from people being like, the iPhone 14 was not successful because they didn't use the same SoC as the... No, it wasn't that. Like, literally no regular human being that buys a phone at the Apple Store or at the shopping mall or whatever, or from the carrier company, they're not like, but let me compare. Does it have the A15 Bionic or the A... No, nobody thinks like that. They only care about the camera.
But, like, realistically, do the three of us care what system on a chip is
I
in
don't
our
even
iPhone?
care.
No,
I don't care.
like, because it doesn't... That alone doesn't do anything for me, right? Like, we're past that point a long time ago.
Like, if they stopped naming it and they just said the iPhone has chip in it,
Yeah.
I will be fine with it.
And this iPhone does this. Like, that's kind of... Like, I know that each year that certain things are enabled by what they put on the chip or whatever, right? But, like, just the idea... I don't even know why they even really talk about it in this way anymore, of, like, here's the A17. Like, I just, like... Why are we even still talking about this part?
Why is it still called Bionic? Also, what's this thing with Bionic? I don't get it.
Yeah, it was an okay podcast in its day.
Not really.
No, it was bad.
Yeah, I've got another thing.
Yeah,
That's
anyway.
for real for them.
I'm sorry.
Steven, do you care about wood chips on your phone?
No, not really.
Do you?
What if it enables faster USB transfer speeds? You care there?
I mean, I do care about that.
Yeah, there you go.
This episode of Connected is made possible by Nom Nom. Don't settle when it comes to your pup's health. Make the switch to fresh food made with real ingredients and backed by science. That's Nom Nom. They deliver fresh dog food with every portion personalized to your dog's needs, so you can bring out their best. Nom Nom is made with real, whole food that you can see and recognize, without any additives or fillers that contribute to bloating and low energy. That's because Nom Nom uses the latest science and insights to make real, good food for dogs. Their nutrient-packed recipes are crafted by board-certified veterinary nutritionists, made fresh and shipped free to your door. Nom Nom has already delivered over 40 million meals to good dogs just like yours, inspiring millions of clean bowls and tail wags. It's super important that your dog is well nourished and that nourishment matches where they are in their life. I know as our dog has gotten older, she's a senior citizen now, we've had those conversations with our veterinarian about her changing needs. And with Nom Nom, you can make sure that your dog is getting just what they need. It's a no-brainer because Nom Nom comes with a money-back guarantee. If your dog's tail isn't wagging within 30 days, Nom Nom will refund your first order. No fillers, no nonsense, just nom nom. Go right now for 50% off your no-risk 2-week trial at trynom.com/connected. That's spelled try, T-R-Y, nom, N-O-M, T-R-Y-N-O-M, trynom.com/connected for 50% off. Our thanks to Nom Nom for their support of the show and Relay FM. Pro and Pro Max. Let's talk about this. I think this is where
let's talk about real phone.
I want to ask you two a question before we begin because we're naming it. Pro Max or Ultra? What do you think?
Ultra.
Yeah, I'm Team Ultra.
Yeah, so am I. Come on, let's get rid of that name. Pro Max, get out of town. Ultra. I want to be in the Ultra Club. That's where I want to be.
iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Ultra. I like it.
Ultra.
Pro Ultra.
You know? No, please don't do that. Don't do that. They might do that.
Put a pin in that because it may happen. All right.
Oh, please don't do that. Keep it as
They're
Pro
gonna
Max.
do it. You know them. They're gonna do. Well, is Pro Max better or worse than Pro Ultra?
I think Pro Ultra is better.
It's less. Pro Max is less syllables.
That's true, but Pro Max sounds like a plumbing product of some sort that you like clean your pipes out with.
But Pro Ultra feels like a supplement. Right? Like that's going to give me increased testosterone or something.
Big news. And this is what I'm excited about. A move to titanium for the side rails instead of steel. This should make these phones weigh less, which would be fantastic. And I think they have the opportunity, we're going to talk about the colors, but I think there's an opportunity to sort of really kind of refresh the look and feel of this phone. I'm a big fan of Apple's titanium work. The Apple Watch, was it the Series 6 and 7, I think, that were titanium, or maybe 7? Yeah, I think 6 and 7. It was like a brushed titanium that looked really good. I had one of those watches for a couple of years. Of course, the Apple Watch Ultra is titanium, not brushed, but sort of bead blasted. I think it looks really nice. And I think this could be a really nice addition to the phone. But honestly, anything that gets the weight down, I'm in favor for. Because these phones, especially the Pro Max, it's heavy. And this should at least help with that.
I can wait. Yeah. I mean, having been now an Apple Watch Ultra user for how many months, I don't even remember. Yes. Give me titanium.
Yeah, but...
No.
Yeah, but...
Nah.
No gold. That's the rumor is no gold anymore.
Yeah,
They're going to get rid of
fine.
gold.
I don't think that's inherent to the titanium unless they just can't make it shiny enough. But...
This just makes me sad, though.
Yeah. It looks like the iPhone Pro Ultra Max will be space black, silver, some sort of blue color, and then Titan gray, which... I think my guess is there's dummy units out now, so who knows? But the silver and Titan gray, I think, will be similar, and it'll just be more like the back glass is slightly differently colored, but not a wide range of color here. And yes, of course, the gold being gone makes a lot of people sad, including our friend Mike.
But it's like,
Mike,
could you have imagined that they could make the Pro phone colors even more boring?
No, that's impressive that they've done that.
Like, yeah, you know what? Actually, bravo. You know, like, wouldn't have thought that one. No, I'm gonna be sad about this.
Mike, now that we're talking about titanium and colors, can I put forth a formal proposal?
Yes.
For you and Jason on upgrade?
Yes.
You're going to do the draft, right? And you're
Yes.
going to need a tiebreaker, right?
Well, the tiebreaker's always set, but continue. There might be something else.
Okay,
we can do.
it's an idea. It's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
You may want to think about it. If you need a clean tiebreaker for the draft for the iPhone 15 event, a potential question will be: will Apple use during the event David Guetta's Titanium song at any point?
Ooh.
I hate that song. You know that? Like, I hate that song.
But you know, Apple, they may put it on at some point. You know, just something to think about.
That, you know what? That is something to think about.
Put that in your
really
Google
is.
Doc and smoke it, you know?
That's a real head scratcher, I gotta say.
Anyway.
I mean, for me, if they do this, probably Titan Grey is what I'll go with because it will at least be different. And
Same.
maybe like what I'll want now is like, what is the closest color to match the Apple Watch that I'm going to buy? That's what I'm going to want to try and get.
Yeah, and we're going to get to the Apple Watch here in a minute because I think there could be some new things there. Beyond the colors, we're looking at slimmer bezels. This has been rumored for quite a while now, and some of the mock-ups and things people have done of what the bezels may look like. I think it's going to look pretty nice. I think it's going to make the current phones look old, like Apple can do.
Yeah.
Big news on the chip side, y'all. Apple's first 3-nanometer chip, the A17. There was a story that apparently Apple is buying all of TSMC's 3-nanometer chips. Like they're just gonna do it all because this, I guess, will filter into the M3 and some other things across the line. But big news on the chip front. Chip boys have something to be excited about.
Comes with chips.
I feel like
nice.
This is something on Federico's bucket list that he could go to someone and say, "I'll take them all."
No, one of my many things is to walk into some kind of restaurant or like a coffee shop. Look around, just being all casual. Just look around, look at the menu, take a look, just browse, and then be like, so how much for the whole place? Just like that.
Oh wow, okay.
Right.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like I'll have one of everything, but no, you went up
also that. It's
higher,
similar
higher.
vibe, And so, I'll have one of everything.
Every time I see a cab, which is not very often, we don't have very many here, but I always think about your thing of like, hey, follow that car, like
Yeah.
It'd be so cool to say. It'd be so cool to say.
Yeah, I know. Every time when we were on vacation, we were taking turns. We rented a car, and often I would say, for directions, I would say to my friend, "You just follow that car," and Sylvia said, "Follow that car," like in terms of like the joke that I often say, and I had to explain to my friends what that meant. Yeah, I hope I get to do it someday.
Do you think if you got in a taxi and said follow that car that they would?
They would. But it's how you sell it. I think it's how you sell it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we were talking about chips.
Yeah.
I think.
A17,
okay.
3-nanometer. It's going to unlock the future in ways we can't even begin to understand.
That USB transfer speed is going to be so fast.
No, but let's talk about that in a minute because I do have serious thoughts about USB speeds.
Before we get to your USB-C Thunderbolt stuff, I do just want to very quickly touch base on the customizable action button. That's something that has like come and gone out of the rumors, but I think is a very exciting possibility, especially if it's like the Apple Watch where you could tie it to a shortcut or a workout or the flashlight or something like that.
Cannot wait for these two, like tying shortcuts to finally having a use for that space on the side of the phone. I'm very excited about that.
In recent iOS 17 betas, the vibration has changed when you hit the mute switch. It's like much more pronounced now. And, maybe that's hinting at, okay, when this button is maybe when it's in that mode or maybe all the time when you press it, you're really going to get haptic feedback that you've done something. So I feel like this is going to happen. Okay, Federico, take us home with this Thunderbolt theory desire that you have, because I know USB transfer speeds are really important to you. So what would you like to see
Connected is the #1 podcast for USB transfer speeds.
Yeah, whenever I find myself, being a photographer at a wedding or, being a documentarian, down in the South African wilderness, those transfer speeds always come in clutch, as they say. They've saved me.
The C stands for clutch. USB clutch.
Transfer those files. That's you want to come in a room and say that.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, it's
Siri.
I am intrigued by this idea of the Pro phones having Thunderbolt, because what if, like, just imagine, not this year, obviously, because it will require a major software undertaking. But maybe next year, maybe a few years down the road, just imagine a scenario in which, and huge asterisk here. This Apple wouldn't be the first company to do this, but imagine a scenario in which your phone, you plug in a Thunderbolt cable, you plug in the cable into a studio display, and your phone becomes a desktop workstation. So what I'm imagining...
Stage Manager.
I told you, Stage Manager on the iPhone. But like Samsung has something similar, right? It's called Samsung DeX.
Yep.
And I believe someone else did it a decade or so ago, like this idea of, yeah, it's your smartphone, but what if you plug it into a dock at your desk and suddenly you have a desktop environment? Like, this is not a new idea. However, Apple has the ecosystem to do it right and to do it in a way where, you know, you have the same apps on your phone, on your Mac, on your, you know, on your iPad. What if, like imagine just a scenario in which iOS 18 or iOS 20, sounds silly to say iOS 20, by the way, but I guess we'll get there at some point. Yeah. Imagine iOS 20, you know, like your phone apps support multiple windows. At some point, multiple windows for iPhone apps will happen, right? I mean, why not? The Palm did it years ago, and it was pretty sweet. But like, imagine multiple windows for your phone apps, and it's Thunderbolt. And I mean, why not do it where, you know, your phone is your computer already? But what if it could also be your computer? So like, you just buy a display, you place it on a dock. Maybe it's like a MagSafe thing even that supports data transfers. And suddenly you have a desktop environment powered by your phone. It wouldn't be, if it's Thunderbolt, and if Apple has the ecosystem of third-party apps to do it, it wouldn't be too wild to imagine something like that. But sure, there's a big downside in this theory, which is, well, if your phone is your computer, then it means you're not buying a separate computer for your desk. So, which that would be, you know, a point against doing this sort of unified computer theory. Apple wants you to buy multiple computers. They want you to buy the phone and the tablet for when you're on the couch and the computer for when you're on the desk. Mm-hmm. But just maybe imagine that is all I'm saying. I mean, it would be pretty sweet.
It would be.
It would be.
But they're never going to do it.
No, I don't think so. I would like it, but I don't.
They're never
going to
do it. They're never going to do it. So Thunderbolt will enable faster transfer speeds, faster charging rates, hopefully. And, you know, maybe at some point we'll be able to plug in my phone into an eGPU and see what happens. I don't know.
You have to try that. You know, you're obligated legally to try that.
I tried, by the way. What happens if you plug an iPad Pro into an eGPU? Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
So,
yeah.
They
got to support driver kit, you know? It takes time. Also in the rumors is a potential big camera update for the Pro Max Ultra, a periscope lens that could allow 5 to 6 times optical zoom. This actually came up to me. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday about, you know, he's like, you know, what are the new iPhones going to be? And I was like, you know, rumor is the big one's going to get this nice optical zoom. And he was like legitimately excited about this. I think he's on an iPhone 12 maybe. So he's kind of like, you know, about time to upgrade on his cycle. And he wants it to be able to take like better pictures of his kids, like playing sports. Like I think one of their kids plays golf, and we've all done it, right? We like zoom in too far on a phone and it's like really pixely because the digital zoom just kind of falls down after a certain point. But if the optical zoom can get you closer, you may not need to go to the digital zoom at all. You know, what we saw from 2x to 3x. And so while this seems like it's just going to be on the big phone because of the physicality of a periscope lens, I do think that people are going to find this to be a meaningful camera update. Now, will that push more people to the big phone, the most expensive phone? We're going to talk about prices in a minute. I don't know. But I do think for people who are already willing to carry the biggest phone, or the camera is like the most important thing, this could be a real selling point. And I'm very excited to see how Apple talks about this periscope zoom lens. I'm hopeful that we still have something in the 2 or 3x region that's optical in addition to the 5 or 6. I hope that we don't have to go from 1 to 5 and everything else is in between is digital. But I think this could be a big deal for a lot of people looking for a new phone.
I think you're going to lose the 3, and I think it's probably one of the reasons why they introduced the cropped 2X
Yeah.
and made such a big deal over the fact that like it is optical in a way, right? Like, you know, like it's like, yeah, but it's just the middle part, and like they might do more of that, I think.
I think so
but
too.
they're not going to add another. There's not going to be another lens, right? They're going to be like 4 lenses.
Yeah, surely not.
On the phone.
Now we're doing 4 lenses.
Screw it, 4 lenses. Yeah, I'm hoping for some overall camera improvements on this phone, and I'm excited for the periscope zoom just to see what it does. But I am hoping for something that improves the issue I have where I feel like the macro mode is on way more than I want it to be.
Yeah, and it's a little quick to jump to that.
Yeah, they've got to do something to change the focal distance, like the focal range? That was one of the things that changed when they added the larger sensor, which is why it flips to that macro mode so much. And I really want to see something change there because, look, it's good, but it's not as high quality as the main lens. And I would like them to try and find some way to improve upon that situation.
Lastly, let's talk about price. It seems like there could be an increase of $100 to the base price of the Pro phones. The 14 Pro is $999 for 128 gigs, and the 14 Pro Max is $1099 for 128 gigs. Of course, both those prices are here in the US. It's unclear, I think, to me, maybe I missed this, that would that price increase still be at 128 gigs, or maybe they bump to 256 to help justify the $100. I just don't know, but it feels like people are pretty confident that these Pro phones are going to be a little bit more this year, which hurts because these phones are really expensive.
Yeah, I would love to see how they justify the price increase on the Pro phone. Like, at least with the Pro Max, like, if it's going to be different, like the Ultra, right? Like, it's going to be different. It's going to have different features more than the other phones. While I don't want the prices to increase, I could see how they would, like, like all this and like, but like, yeah, I think it's going to be complicated to increase the price of the regular Pro.
I think so too, and I think maybe that's why they'll bump it to 256 to help balance that out. But we'll see. Like all this stuff, right? We're just a couple weeks away. So a couple other just miscellaneous things that could be coming in this September event. Apple reportedly plans to announce a USB-C charging case with new, somehow updated AirPods Pro. I wonder if they'll do like what they did with the wireless case, that you could also just buy the case for your existing AirPods Pro. I think that's a little unclear at this point. But if you're moving away from Lightning, you kind of want your accessories to do that too. Now, it's different, I think, with the keyboard, trackpad, or mouse that's at your desk all the time. That, yeah, like those will go to USB-C at some point. But if you have Lightning ones, that's less of a big deal. But if you're traveling and you have USB-C phone, USB-C laptop, USB-C iPad, and just your AirPods are Lightning, that's a bit of a bummer. So I'm hopeful that they'll have a case that you could just purchase for less, because a lot of people, may not be ready to upgrade their full AirPods Pro, but it makes sense that this has to follow.
And there's precedent. There's precedent for that, right? Was it the original AirPods where they had a wireless charging case that came later on?
When the phone got wireless charging. So I think the phone and AirPods basically have to be lockstep with their charging technology.
Yeah.
And then we mentioned earlier the possible inclusion of 3D printing technology in the Apple Watch Series 9. Other than that, the Series 9 looks like a pretty small update, some possible new finishes or colors. And then the Ultra 2, potentially a new darker titanium finish. So maybe whatever they do on the Space Black or the Titan Gray, something, the Pro phone, maybe that would carry over to the Ultra 2. Mike, you're in the market for a new Apple Watch, right? You're looking at the Ultra?
This is the thing I'm most excited about. I'm more excited about just buying an Apple Watch Ultra than any of the rumors for the iPhone. Because I want one. Mm-hmm. I want the new watch, and my poor little watch that could. Like, more often than not these days, I'm getting that 10% battery warning. at the end of the day. Even though I charge my watch every morning when I wake up because I do the sleep tracking. So I really want the new Apple Watch. I'm very excited about it, and it's going to be fun for me. Like with the new Watch OS as well, like getting new Watch OS and new watch, like I think like new screen size and stuff. I think that's going to be pretty cool because it does look like
it's sweet.
The
on the
new
Ultra.
Watch OS is being designed a little bit more with a bigger screen in mind, right? Like going kind of like full color and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited about. I am actually really excited about the new Apple Watch for me.
Yeah, if it's just a new dark titanium finish, I'm not gonna upgrade. I got my Ultra in December. No, was it January? A few months ago, really. And if it's just a new color and maybe new chip, like whatever, I'm not gonna upgrade my Ultra. I'm just gonna keep this one and maybe consider next year.
That's where I am. I got the Ultra when it was new last fall, and I feel no urge to update this watch. Even on the beta, the battery life is like more than enough for a couple of days.
Yep.
It's held up really well. I've got one small nick on it, but that's it. And usually at this point, an aluminum Apple Watch would have quite a few dings in it for me. So I'm happy to stay with the Ultra for another year. I think it's a fantastic product, and I think having another option will be nice because all the other Apple Watches you can get in a bunch of different finishes, and the Ultra sort of stood alone as like it's just this one finish. And I think they were right to start with the titanium, but it's time to branch out a little bit. And if they could do it to match the phones, like what Mike wants, I think ultimately, I think people will dig that. That does it for our rounding up of the rumors. Just a
Preview.
Preview. I was trying to
the
put
official
rumor and
preview.
preview together, but nothing's coming to mind.
Roomy view. Room with a view.
Roomy view.
Next week, we'll be playing the Ricky. So between now and then, if you think about us throughout your day, just know we're probably debating or arguing about what each pick can be, what is risky, what is not. But we'll be back next week with that. Until then, if you want to find links to stuff we spoke about, it's all in your podcast player, but it's also out on the web at relay.fm/connected/465. The most important link this week and throughout the month of September is stjude.org/relay. Please donate and support the life-saving work of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. You can find us all online. Mike is on a bunch of other shows here on Relay FM. He is the co-founder of Cortex Brand, and you can follow him online. He's on Mastodon as iMike and Mike.social, and he's on Threads as iMike. You can follow Federico's work at macstories.net. Federico, of course, is hard at work on his iOS and iPadOS 17 review, which I know we're all looking forward to. Lots of other great coverage on Mac Stories in the meantime. You can follow Federico on Mastodon as Vitici at macstories.net. You can find me on Mac Power Users each and every Sunday here on Relay FM and my writing over at 512pixels.net. I'm ISMH86 on Threads and ISMH at eworld.social on Mastodon. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Clean My Mac X, Fast Growing Trees, and Nom Nom. And until next week when we make some picks, boys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.